The richest person in the room never looks the part. The richest person in the room never looks the part. They're not driving the loudest car. They're not wearing the most recognizable logo. And they're not telling you what they're worth. There's a shift that happens quietly, somewhere in your late 20s or early 30s. The people actually building wealth start making a different kind of decision. Not louder, quieter. They stop buying certain things, not because they can't afford them, because they've learned something most people never figure out until it's too late. Before 40, the gap between those who build wealth and those who perform it becomes permanent. This is what they stop buying. 1. Recognizable logos. Status used to have a logo. That was the whole point. You paid extra to wear the brand's name, to announce yourself, to signal your position in a hierarchy that doesn't actually exist. The quietly wealthy figured this out early. They moved toward what the fashion industry now calls quiet luxury. Brands most people have never heard of. And that's exactly the point. The deeper psychology is simple. When you wear a logo, you're not expressing wealth. You're asking for permission to feel wealthy. You're outsourcing your self-worth to a marketing department. The real shift isn't about fashion. It's about who you're buying things for. When you stop needing the logo, you stop needing the audience. That's the first move. 2. Complex high-fee investment products. There's an entire industry built around making investing feel complicated, because complicated justifies fees. And fees are where wealth quietly disappears. Hedge funds, actively managed portfolios, structured products with documents nobody actually reads. The quietly wealthy stopped buying this years ago. They moved toward boring, deliberately boring. Low-cost index funds, automated investing, dollar-cost averaging. The kind of strategy that never becomes a viral social media post, which is exactly why it works. Over long periods, the majority of active fund managers fail to beat simple index funds. That means many investors are literally paying someone to underperform. The wealthy don't buy complexity. They buy systems. Set it. Forget it. Allow time to do the work. A small fee seems harmless today, but over decades, it quietly steals hundreds of thousands from your future. The wealthy understand that every percentage point matters, not today, but 20 years from now. 3. The automatic upgrade. A promotion arrives, a raise hits the bank account, and immediately the mind starts calculating. Bigger apartment, new car, latest phone, better everything. You earned it. You deserve it. This is lifestyle inflation, and it might be the most efficient mechanism ever created for staying financially stuck. The quietly wealthy operate differently. When income rises, spending doesn't automatically follow. They let the new income sit, they observe it, and most of the time, they redirect the difference toward assets. The phone still works, the car still drives, the apartment is still enough. This isn't deprivation, it's discipline. The wealthy aren't buying the upgrade. They're buying the gap, the distance between what they earn and what they spend. That gap becomes investments. Investments become assets. Assets become freedom. 4. Time debt. This one isn't discussed enough. Every object you own costs more than money. It costs attention, maintenance, mental bandwidth, time. A boat is the classic example. People joke that the 2 happiest days in a boat owner's life are the day they buy it and the day they sell it, because everything in between becomes responsibility. Storage, insurance, repairs, scheduling, administration. The quietly wealthy are obsessed with ownership overhead. They avoid possessions that constantly demand attention, because attention is finite. Every subscription, every complicated asset, every high-maintenance purchase creates a hidden tax, a tax on your focus. And focus is where wealth is built. The more time you spend managing things, the less time you spend creating value. The wealthy stopped buying time debt because, unlike money, time cannot be replenished. 5. Social validation. Many people spend money for reasons they never admit. Not because they want something, but because they want approval. The vacation that stretches the budget. The luxury purchase that impresses the neighbors. The expensive restaurant because everyone else is going. The quietly wealthy stopped funding other people's opinions. Every dollar spent on validation is a dollar working against your future. The shift happens when value becomes internal, when your decisions stop being votes on your worth and become private choices. They don't buy approval anymore because they no longer need it. 6. Impulsive next big thing investments. Every generation gets its version. The dot-com boom, real estate mania, cryptocurrency frenzies, NFTs, meme stocks, and whatever comes next. The pattern never changes. Only the packaging does. Here's the psychology. FOMO isn't an accident. It's a mechanism. The people who got in early need other people to arrive late. That's how bubbles work. The quietly wealthy understand information asymmetry. If an investment opportunity is trending everywhere, they become cautious. Not because they're closed-minded, because they understand timing. By the time something reaches the average person, the biggest gains are often already gone. The headlines arrive after the opportunity. The wealthy don't buy hype, they buy value. They buy assets that are boring before they become obvious, and that patience compounds over time. 7. Micro-subscriptions and invisible fixed costs. This one seems too small to matter. That's why it matters so much. The average person has multiple subscriptions they barely use. Streaming platforms, app subscriptions, cloud services, free trials that quietly became permanent. Each one seems insignificant, but together, they create a constant leak. And the quietly wealthy hate leaks. Not because they can't afford $12, because tolerating inefficiency becomes a habit. A person who ignores a small leak will eventually ignore a larger one. The wealthy audit their fixed costs regularly. Every expense must justify its existence. Every dollar must have a purpose. Nothing remains simply because it has always been there. Wealth isn't only about what you earn. It's about what you allow to leave. Stop tolerating the leak. Conclusion. There's a version of wealth that's loud. You've seen it. It's designed to be seen. And then there's another version. Quiet, deliberate, almost invisible. The people living it aren't performing anything. They're not competing with anyone. They simply made a series of small private decisions that compounded over time. The visible rich rarely understand this, because wealth, at its core, isn't about acquisition. It's about subtraction. Removing distractions, removing unnecessary expenses, removing the need for validation, removing the habits that quietly drain your future. The goal was never to look rich. The goal was always to be free. What you remove from your life creates more space than anything you could ever add. And that's the secret the quietly wealthy understand better than anyone else. If this way of thinking feels different, that's a good sign. Because the psychology behind money goes much deeper than most people realize. Subscribe to learn what they never taught you.